Welcome to the Better Together podcast, where we look for ways we can work together to advance the gospel of Jesus Christ. Today, we have with us Miss Pam Crank. She's the executive director of the Hope Center in Greenville, Tennessee. And so, Miss Pam, thank you for taking the time to be with us today on the Better Together podcast.
Thank you, Dr. Moody. It's a privilege to be able to help out this way.
Well, it's a privilege to get to talk to you because you're really on the front end of trying to save the lives of babies. And you're on the front lines, I should really say, on helping moms who find themselves in distress, and even the men that are involved with them in their lives. And so I know many of our listeners are thinking, well, what can I do to help save lives? Or what can I do to reduce abortions besides just go and vote? So what are the things the average Christian can do to help these ladies and these folks in these various difficulties?
Well, Dr. Moody, you said it well. We are kind of the boots to the ground. We're on the front lines here. So our supporters are it's so valuable to us. First of all, praying. The prayers, we value those so much because it is very much a spiritual battle here that we are seeing. It's a very dark time in our country. But we know that in that darkness is when we as a people, God's people, our light shines the brightest. And so just coming along in prayer. Also, we need items for our baby boutique, that physical support with bringing in those needed items that our moms they earn that through our Earn While You Learn program. They're going through the educational component. So we do always need items for our baby boutique. And financial support. We can't do what we do without that, obviously. And so those are ways to come along. Those that are local, we are always looking for volunteers to help out. And that varies in different ways. We have opportunities to serve on a weekly basis. We have opportunities to serve for those who may just want to help out now and then. So we have plenty opportunities for them to serve.
That's great. And so you're like, I'd like to help out in some way or to reach out and meet some of those needs. So really what they could do is go online to hopecentergreenville.com. And we need to stress Greenville is Greene. So you've got an E on the end of that N, ville.com. And that way they can make contact with you, Miss Pam. They could find out about volunteering. And even if they're not in the East Tennessee area, maybe there are other opportunities to donate items and get items to you, aren't there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They can go through our field reps. That is also a good point of contact. I think there's some in pretty much every area that we have Free Will Baptist. And so that's a good point of contact and reaching, and they know our needs as well and can help out. But they can email me or call directly to the Hope Center. I'll be glad to talk with them.
Very good. And so you can find that at the contact information under hopecentergreenville.com. But also, if you've had field reps come out from Free Will Baptist Family Ministries, or if you're at a particular meeting and you see one of their booths, those are ways. But we do encourage you right now, once you've watched the podcast, go ahead and go to the website and find a way. So that's some kinds of things that individual Christians can do. They're all part of churches. It sounds like churches could do those as well. Are there other ways that churches might be able to help to support life in their particular situation?
Yes, as you know, that we are coming up in January is what we call Sanctity of Human Life Month. And we do have a day set aside. Back in 1984, President Reagan, he did a presidential proclamation declaring the third Sunday in January as Sanctity of Human Life Sunday. This year, it happens to be on January 24th. So I would encourage pastors across the country to set aside that Sunday to do something special for your congregation, educating them exactly what does this mean and what does this look like for the church. I think we need to hear it from the pulpit, how much that God really values life and how the church itself can get involved with that, teaching even the young ones how to value life and why it is so important that message get across. Churches across the country oftentimes will hold baby showers in honor of pregnancy centers across our country. That's an idea that they can do. Rally around. Some do the baby bottle campaign at that time. They launched that. That's an easy way to raise funds for us and also awareness to what we do. Um, I would love to come and speak. Long as it's within an hour or so of driving, I'd be glad to come and share the ministry of the Hope Center, what the Pregnancy Center is doing, how we reach out and help those in our community, what we're doing at the maternity home. And that's something that's not just for someone in our community, that's across the country. We can house those ladies that are in need. So it's just a good time to raise awareness for life and the importance and the value that God places on that.
So great. So not letting that Sunday go by, thinking about passage like Psalm 139, we're fearfully and wonderfully made, which talks
Absolutely.
how God had his hands on babies really in the womb. We think about
Mhm.
Jeremiah, God talking about him and having a purpose for his life before he was ever
Mhm.
born. So you're saying don't let that go by. Teach that in our churches, teach that in our families, the importance of human life. And I think I also can hear in there sharing that even with our young people so they know that they're already thinking about life and those discussions happen with their friends and
Absolutely.
then do what they can to support the Hope Center and other ministries like yours
Mhm.
because you guys are on the front lines and that's what I wanted to ask you a bit about as well. It's been some exciting times as of late at the Hope Center, hasn't it?
It
We've
has.
seen some lives saved. So share a bit with our listeners about that. I think that helps them to, it helps
Mhm.
us all to know what people are doing truly is working. Their prayers are being.
Right. Yes. Yes, we have had an extremely busy year this year. We have had over 2,000 visits inside the doors of the Hope Center. That's a lot of people coming in our doors. But each one of those I look at as it's a point of touch that we have the opportunity to pour into them the love of Christ. Every time they come into our doors, whether that's we're sending them out with a pack of diapers or we're sending them out with a lesson. They're seeing the love of Christ manifested here in our doors. We had 67 dads participate in our program this year, which is huge. Many men come in, they did not have a role model of a father in their life. Therefore, they don't know how to be a dad. They want to be, but they need somebody to come alongside them and say, hey, let me mentor you. Let me invest time in you. So that has just been wonderful to see these guys coming in, investing the time, wanting to learn how to be supportive in their role as a dad in the family, how God set that up to be. And so that is really exciting. We just a couple of weeks ago, we had a young lady come in. As many of you know, we were blessed this year with a brand new ultrasound machine. And this lady came in. She was very angry, very, very distraught. And just when we look at her through our eyes, she was just not a very nice person. But I'm so thankful for our trained staff and how that they quickly understood that her anger was really a cry for help. And so they brought her in, heard her story. She was pregnant. She already has 3 or 4 other children that have been removed from her care. Did not want to be pregnant. I was not very happy about this situation, was wanting an abortion. And just like I said, she was just angry. She had all of these walls built around her. So we brought her in. We did her pregnancy test. We did her ultrasound. And just as she was laying there on that table, having that ultrasound done in a place where she knew she was safe, in a place where she knew she was not being judged. You could see her walls come down. And as she met her baby for the first time there on that ultrasound, the tears started to flow.
Mm.
And a change just came over her that, that to me is only what I would call a God moment, that
Yes.
God used this tool that he gave to us, and then we in turn could offer this service to this woman who was so distraught, and to be able to minister to her in her time of need. And God used that for her to be able to see her baby. And in that, she chose life. When she left our office that day, she was a different person.
Yes.
She apologized for her anger. She apologized. But, till we've walked in someone's shoes, we don't really know sometimes the pain and the hurt they're carrying. And then you start peeling away those layers and you really get to what the hurt is. And then you can really work with them and get them to turn around and point them in just in a loving manner, help them work through those hard times. And so those are stories that, we get to see quite and hear quite often, Dr. Moody.
Oh, that's just a wonderful story. And I appreciate you sharing it with us. And I think there's a lot to unpack there. You mentioned how angry she was. And so it's important for us to remember people may be angry, even antagonistic toward us, and look at how it became different, later.
Yes.
And so you mentioned how trained your staff was. They were able to be calm and kind of put
Mm-hmm.
themselves in her shoes a little bit. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of lesson there for us. And as I listened to you talk about her and getting that ultrasound, really it made Psalm 139 come to light for her. She was able to see her baby, how
Absolutely.
it had been designed, and it was there in the womb. And I just thank the Lord for the people that donated that, for the people who've given to you all to make that
Mm-hmm.
possible. They'll never meet that lady, very likely, but look at
Mm-hmm.
what that did.
That's
Look at
right.
what that
Right.
donation did. So, wow, what a story,
Yeah. Yeah.
Miss Crank. That's
Right.
awesome, and to know that that's the kind of thing that happens. So, whew, I know you have busy days, and I know it's pretty hectic, but I know you've got to hold on to that. It's working, isn't it?
It is. It is. And I think that's the beauty of what we do. We may be here on the front lines, but, honestly, without the support of people in the churches and God's people coming alongside us, we couldn't do what we do. So it's so important. This ministry is about, it's getting God's work done, and his people, everyone. It takes us all doing our part. And so that's, to me, is such a huge blessing, is when God's people all come together and the body of Christ works together for a common goal and a common good.
That's great. So you're listening, and Miss Pam, if they want to help out with your ministry, they can give, can't they, to Free Will Baptist Family Ministries? They can go to hopecentergreenville.com. And you mentioned the other ways they can give: by donating time, by donating resources, and by
Mm-hmm.
praying for you and your staff and the people that'll be coming your way. 2,000 people, 2,000 individuals.
Visits. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people, a lot of lives, a lot of families touched. That's the way they can support you, isn't it?
That would be a wonderful way to be able to contribute and be a part of our life affirming ministry that we have here with the Free Will Baptist Family Ministries. Yes.
Well, we appreciate you so much. We also appreciate your staff. We hope you'll convey that to them, that
Well,
we understand this has got to be difficult often, the work that they do, and they're on the front lines. Satan is not happy with what they're doing, but we praise them. We want to lift them up in prayer, and we thank you all for the good work that you're doing. May God bless you, and may we see much more fruit even from the good efforts that you and your team are doing there.
thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you.
Bless you. And we would say, God bless you all that are listening to us today. Maybe you know someone that's struggling and they need some help. We encourage you to pass this podcast along to them. We encourage you to share the gospel with them with the right tune, if you will, the right tone that the director of Free Baptist Ministries, Jim McComas, often says. It's important that the Bible never changes, the message never changes, but we do it in a loving way so that we see more people like this woman who chose to save her baby. So let us do what we can. And let us also remember every little thing we do, it truly does matter. It truly does count. God takes it and uses it. We truly are better together. Thank you for joining us today.